Yeah, let's just dive right into it. Action-packed weekend.
Let's go.
Let's jump it off with what happened this Saturday with Premier Boxing. Okay, we had Mr. David Benavidez versus David Morrell. We had the previous show we did. I liked it. We kind of we shared with the audience our thoughts. It was just uncut. What you see is what you're gonna get. Uh, Even on Instagram, we shared our thoughts. And I think Mr. Cam G was kind of spot on in how he anticipated this one to go. So Cam G, can you take center stage on how you did like a magic act and just guessed what's going you predicted the
Yeah.
future.
Oh man, it was a perfect style matchup as far as Morrell Benavidez, but Benavidez having more experience with elite fighters. I really weighed heavily the experience with Triple G. It's gonna weigh heavily throughout his whole career. Obviously, it makes him a tough guy to get to do anything with. David Morrell was able to use his athleticism, rhythm changes, being in the southpaw stance. A lot of those things lent well to the fight. But like I was saying on Instagram, is or strap. You said it like as far as the volume punching, it was just too much. I just didn't think that he would get a fighter of Dave Morrell's pedigree out of there. I just didn't see it. He's a strong young dude, very a lot of pride with that. But Dave Benavidez, he's a different guy, man. I know they call him a monster, but to me, he's more like a Terminator.
Yeah.
You know, and I really enjoyed that fight. Very competitive. Like I said on Instagram, I feel like there will be a rematch at some point. I think that'll be something. You know, maybe both guys get 2 or 3 more fights under their belt. They're still young, very marketable to run that back at some point. So, we give a like around 18, maybe 15 to 18 fights under his belt, and then I can see that happening again.
Dope. Did you in the early stages? You think you seen what Ward was showing him in action?
Fighting a lefty.
Not really. maybe at times, but it's hard to hop in the gym and try to implement something right away. I think he can. I think he has the ability to do so. Some of the footwork, I think, still, if you want to criticize him, that could be something that could be worked on. I think that was a result. The knockdown was a result. I thought of the footwork being a little loose with the footwork because it wasn't a knockdown. It was a trip, which happens in the southpaw orthodox matchup frequently. You just don't see guys typically lose their balance and actually have their gloves touch the ground. So luckily for him, it wasn't costly. And I made me more of a David Morrell fan watching him, seeing the style and the toughness. Because David Benavidez, like I said, he's a Terminator. And I really don't see even I know we'll probably project other fights, but it's really hard to see him being beat at that division. Bivol, Bertabiev, those are some interesting fights to be had, but he might be on top of all those guys.
Interesting.
That was that was an interesting round too, because essentially that knockdown or called knockdown was kind of nullified. And I was trying to do the math, so I guess with the late hit by David Morrell after Benavidez flurry, referee docked at 1 point, and it became a 9-8 round,
right?
Instead of a 10-8 round.
Right.
Correct.
You don't see that often.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. What did y'all think about the point deduction? Sometimes you see that happen when you thought it was egregious enough to warrant a point deduction.
I think it's because the referee's standing in between there.
Yeah, I
think he kind of has to, has to establish that.
Right.
Which the magnitude of the fight too can affect what the referee decision is going to be, because
Yeah, he took some damage. He took a flush. He took a flush punch and had a little damage. Even though he kind of wobbled a little bit, but yeah, amazing fight. It's hard. It's you really haven't. We're not used to seeing Benavidez on the back foot, and we saw that at times in the fight. There, even though it's wild, he won the fight decisively, but there were times when you saw the talent of Morrell kind of pop off the screen a little bit.
I was definitely screaming that he hold the phone now, hold the phone. Don't get too cocky, don't get too comfortable.
Yeah. He got something though. He got something.
This is a topic, and I love boxing Twitter. We saw the fight, but did the judges really get it right?
118, 108 is insane. We have to did we get the AI judging? Can we get AI judging on this fight? Because that would be one I want to compare that 118, 108 to, because 115, 111, I mean that seems about right. If you don't have the deduction, I'm guessing that was
right.
Scores are 115, 112.
Mm-hmm. And
close fight.
All over Twitter, questions, and I wrote points here on my phone, what I was seeing on Twitter. Things that kept on popping up when you hashtag Benavidez versus Morrell was it a clear win? Another hashtag, following that hashtag, a razor close decision, and then the next one that I saw was controversial call. So people were just confused about the judges and what they decided about this fight because they didn't give. And I'll also say with myself, because I'm such a Benavidez fan, I didn't see that from Morrell, to be honest. And I was pleasantly surprised how, first of all, I didn't know Morrell is a big dude like that too. I thought Benavidez, because on the numbers they say Benavidez is about 6'2.5", Morrell is about 6'1", maybe 6 foot. But when they were standing close to each other, Morrell is not small.
Yeah, so more athletic build, and Benavidez is just big.
And
I was telling my gal, like, Morrell looks like a baseball player in there.
Right.
in Cuba, so.
Right.
I could tell like he was in better, maybe I'm wrong, but my eyes told me that Morrell may look like he's in better shape. Benavidez is a pressure fighter, but Morrell looked like, bro, I got the endurance. Like, you throwing all these, but we could keep dancing. And that's why the later rounds, they were kind of deceiving to me. And I was like, Morrell is kind of getting better. And of course, there was a deceptive knockdown. I mean, so they still count it as a knockdown. But fellas, what do you think about that? Do you think it was a unanimous decision? And that's why I agree. There needs to be a next fight. But according to the boxing streets, they were like, nah, this was definitely a Benavidez win. But I don't think it was that. I don't think it was that far of a distance of like you blew him out the water. So
unanimous just means that all three of the judges agree.
Yeah, agree. Yeah.
So
yeah, I think a lot of people would not, a 7-5, as far as the split goes, which means that if you're judging that fight, a round could go one way or the other, or there's a lot of toss-up rounds in there. But it just signified a close fight, and Morrell did perform well at times, especially later in the fight, which is why I do think that they'll run it back at some point, because we haven't seen the damage from Benavidez, but David Morrell has to go out and look impressive moving forward. Taking damage like that in a fight can alter your career. So he needs to come out of some of the next 2 or 3 fights, minimal damage, so he can get back to this, because he probably will be fighting a Bivol or Benavidez again down the line.
Right. It's gonna be you predicted Bivol losing the rematches. This is what it sounds like.
Yes, yeah, I think
that's what I was thinking. So, Morrell probably gets the loser of if Bivol loses again, then that's an easy, clear matchup, and then Benavidez versus Beterbiev is obviously, but there could become some difficulty if Bivol makes an upset here on the 22nd, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then things become more complex, and that rematch against Benavidez and Morrell may come sooner than we think.
Right. There's some possibilities there. I mean, Bivol is
if there's a
capable.
if they're in the need of a third Bill versus Better Beef, then put the rematch for Morrell and Benavidez on the undercard
Yeah, there you
in Saudi
go.
Arabia.
Right. Hey, you give him a lot of game, bro. So just check the matchups and see how they play out because you're dropping game right here.
A whole lot of money to be
I
made.
gotta take a little
Yeah.
bit of time. We have some people viewing our show on YouTube.
What
We
up?
need to
What
say
up?
this more often. We like, comment, subscribe if you've not yet, so we can engage with y'all and make this interactive. So we can pull up some of your comments and in real time engage with you on the thoughts of what you think we are talking about. But we really appreciate you guys, stopping by late in the evening to watch our show. So just thought I would add that, a little bit of salute to all those people watching.
It's the execs from the other shows. They're looking for
Right.
material for tomorrow.
All right.
Yeah, show
We see
yourself in the section just to confirm more than saying if LT's on to something. LT be on to something, y'all.
Yeah,
Or just throw us an offer. We willing to
Consistently.
collab.
all right.
Right.
So
The information is intact.
have
I
we
scared one away.
Yeah, there you go.
have we milked this topic of the two Davids? Do you think Benavidez stays at 168 or is he Canelo chasing? Or what are we doing now with what's next for Benavidez at 68?
He's the number one contender at 75. This match happened at 75.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, this was a number one contender match for light heavy. So
Right. Expecting a matchup with the winner of Benavidez Bivol, assuming Benavidez wins. Now, I don't know if y'all want to touch base real quick on what we think if that is the matchup.
we got a couple weeks.
Yeah. Okay.
Another guy. What? Wait. No. I was gonna say Ilunga, the Congolese guy. I think he's a cruiserweight. He's not.
Cruiser.
Well, if that, and then so he's already said if he can't get that fight, then Benavidez wants to go up and fight Gilbert Ramirez for his. I believe he's got 2 of the 3 or something like that at cruiserweight. So
Benavidez looks like a cruiserweight, his body type and everything.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend of mine, and he's a big diehard David Benavidez fan, and one way he described him, and it's true. He says Benavidez is death by 1,000 cuts. Like he may not hit you with that one, tank one punch, but he's gonna cut you so many times that you eventually gonna die. Like he's one of those. He's just death by 1,000 cuts. And I wouldn't want to be in a ring. That's why he's the monster. You don't want to be in a ring with a guy who's relentless and ruthless like that, just constantly applying pressure. And if he went to cruiserweight, I don't know how that would affect his volume. I don't know, but he does have the frame and the size to dance in that weight category. But hey, if that translates in with the big boys, why not? I would like to see him there.
Hey, but they gave us a great fight this weekend, man. That's all we could hope for. We knew a lot of people felt Benavidez would come on top, but we didn't know how competitive the fight would be. So, big shout out to David Morrell going out there and put on an amazing performance, and look forward to seeing both fighters back in the ring here soon.